Hey everybody, welcome to this week's Dennis Kirk Tech Tip. I'm Donn Maeda with Swap Moto Live, and today we're going to teach you how to change a rear motocross tire. We've opted for the Dunlop MX33, which is arguably the winningest rear tire in our sport today and definite favorite of our staff. Through the magic of Hollywood, I'm going to shape shift into a good-looking, all-American, middle-aged white guy and show you how to change this tire.
Hey, that's quite an intro. Jay Clark here with Dunlop. Today we're going to walk you through how to change your tire. Try to go a little slow for you. I've got the MX33, which Don mentioned, great tire, and we're going to show you the tools you need to do the job right now. I'd like to have some baby powder. This works really well, keeping the tube and the tire from chafing and wearing out. Will also help a little bit in preventing pinch flats, helping it work well. Tire paste. We have this Pro Buds. You can get stuff at the auto parts store, or Hunter Engineering makes a good one that we use. There's also a couple of others that work really well as well. A 10 or 12 millimeter wrench, ratcheting wrench for your rim lock, depending upon your bike. Most of them are 12s. 2 or 3 Motion Pro tire spoons like this. A bead buddy is just really a must. A good tire gauge. All the Motion Pro products with the gauge, the spoons, and the bead buddy, all available from Dennis Kirk. Some gloves, because you're going to beat up your hands. All right, so I like to start with the sprocket side up. A lot of guys worry about that, but don't worry, I'll show you why here in a second. And we like to get the valve stem and cap all the way off. So I take the cap all the way off, and then the nut that holds the valve stem of the tube, and I like to get that all the way off as well. And with that valve core remover, I'm going to take the core all the way out. You know, some people just let the air out, but take it all the way out so that you're not fighting against any air in there. And then our next step will be removing loosening the rim lock. So I backed off the rim lock nut, and I back it off just to where there's just a couple threads holding it on, and it moves just like that. And then I'm gonna start knocking the tire off the bead all the way around like this, all the way off the bead on one side. Now I'm gonna flip it over, and now I got that disc side up that I'll start removing. I'm gonna knock it off the bead as well. If your bead's tough, you can put your spoon against here, and I'm using this edge of the spoon like so. Okay, so we're all the way off, and there's rim locks right here. I'm gonna start about here to get our bites. And when you come in with a bite, see that? So that's as deep as you want to go. Is you just feel it pop right under the tire. You don't want to go in any further than you need to. It's like that. And this is why 3 spoons is kind of nice. And I got my body resting against the tire as I pull over. And now we can pretty much be down just to 1 spoon. And we're gonna do the same thing. And my bites just are not very far apart. I would say, 2.5 inches right there, like this. And then you can use your left hand to kind of push down a hair as you're working your way around. Okay, so we're fully off. I'm gonna flip it over. Now some people would pull the tube out there. We don't do it that way. It saves a lot of time and hassle. I kind of push my body against, I got the rim lock over here. And again, I'm gonna start about just a 1/4 of the way away or so from the rim lock and work my way around again, just like this. 2.5, 3 inches away on those bites like this. And then again, my left hand can push down on the tire. And now I can push my body against the tire and tube here. And then I can come over here and pull the valve stem out. And I can push down on this is kind of the cool way we do it. Just all pops off together. Then I can put my rim up here like this. First thing I like to do before I forget is to come check out that the tape or the band is in good shape. There's no spoke sticking through. This one got moved over a little bit. Okay, so it's looking good. So it's ready to go. I'm gonna pull our tube out here and lay it right here. We have our new tire MX33, and I've already put some powder in here. And when you put powder in, you don't have to put a bunch. I just put a tiny bit, and I'll put some in here. And when you put it in, you just kind of tap the tire around like this, and you can spin it, and it'll get all the way around. Can't really have too much. Don't put a ton in there. It'll make popping out the side there. So You just work your tube back in, just like this. And now we can put our core back in. So we set the core in there. Like so, I was upside down, I have my glasses on. There we go. So at this point, I like to just put a bit of air in here. We want it to fill the tube. And you can't measure the amount of air in here. People have asked me how much air you can't, it doesn't even show up on a gauge, so it's, you know, 0. So just like this is as much air as you want. And then at this point, we're gonna use our tire paste. I like to keep a sponge in there. It's like with a sponge, I can go easily around it like this. And then I wanna get this inside lip right here as well, just like that. Now this tire is not directional, which is nice. If you're doing tires, you always wanna look to make sure that if it's directional or not. The front MX33 is directional, so when you're doing the front, you want to pay attention that you get it the right direction. I always look on here and you can kind of go, okay, and then make sure you got it right. Okay, so now we're all lubed up. I have the valve stem nut, and I keep that probably not in the best place there, and then I drop it into my hand and I put this on just like so. And you see I have the disc side back on top, and at this point I can work the rim lock in like this, and I got my body against the tire, and I can push down on the tire, and I get it about, you know, 60-70% on, and I go with my spoon going this way, and I can lift up the tire with my left hand underneath, just like this. So I'm not scratching the rim as I were to slide it under. I can lift up a little bit, pop it under. Now I like to flip it over and just make sure that everything's happy on this side, which I already know it is, but just come over here. I want to move the rim lock. Make sure the tube is not under the tire there. If it was, I'd put my spoon under here and walk out the tire, make sure the tube is not caught. So now when I come back over here and I make sure the tube is all the way in the tire, and especially at the rim lock, I want it to lift up and make sure the tube's on top of the rim lock. Rim lock moves nice. The tube can get stuck under the rim lock. That's something, especially if you feed the tube in. So now at this point, I got my 2 spoons holding it like this to place the bead buddy just like that. Now that saves a lot of hassle. Before these, guys were holding it 1 spoon and working around needing 3 hands. So this really helps. Makes it a lot easier. Pretty inexpensive tool to help you out. So we're gonna start right here, just get a bite right before the rim lock here. I'm kind of close, so I'm gonna hold that rim lock down with 1 finger. Same with the tube. And then I'm walking around, and my left hand is holding down on the tire as I push down like that, knocking it off the bead. And you notice I'm coming in from the side here. I'm not coming in like this to dig at the rim. Now also, you want to come over here and just knock it off the bead like this so that it's not fighting you, but we're sitting down really nice and low, which is good. My foot's coming up and pushing on the tire like this. And this distance right here is a little tough, but I can lift up on the tire and slide in. Now, if this distance was less, I'd probably space it out so I wasn't having to slide in there really hard and scratch the rim. But as you can see, we didn't scratch the rim at all. You guys always worry about that. Pull this out. Now we're gonna fill it up. It's nice to have good air pressure. Bicycle pump is a little tough to beat up a good Dunlop tire. Okay, so the amount of pressure like in this one right now is around 25 PSI or so to fill it up. Now, it's because I have a large tank that pushes a lot of air that it can be less. If you have a lot of pressure but not a large tank with a lot of volume, guys can go up to 50, 60 PSI to get it to beat up. So I like to check this side, flip it over, make sure this side is good, wipe it all off. Now I'm all the way beat it up. So if you don't know what that means, that right here you have this lip that's all the way up. You want to make sure it's all the way in place. So the first thing we like to do is tighten up the rim lock. And so you can tighten it down by hand right to there. And then get it good and snug. If you over tighten this, you can break it. So you don't want to go crazy at all. And there's not a torque spec, but it's just about like that right there. That's good. So not too, just right. And now we're going to set tire pressure. And for most tracks, we're anywhere from the 12.5 to 13 range, most riding. Guys can go down a little bit, up a little bit, depending upon their conditions. I would say out here in Southern California, 12.8 to 13 is a good place to be. When are you riding this again next, Don? Tomorrow. So we're gonna set it close. So another thing as far as tire pressure, you can lose a pound or so a week, sometimes depending upon what's going on in the atmosphere in your garage sitting over. So when a guy shows up at the track, I get this all the time, he gets a flat in the first 20 minutes of riding, the track's all smooth. I know it's because he probably had too low a pressure. He didn't ride for a few weeks or a month. And I asked him, what pressure did you have in this morning when you checked it before you rode? He's like, and then I catch him. So make sure you check your tire pressure before you ride every time. And hopefully it helps you out. Any other questions, Don? Went pretty good. Okay, so that concludes it. Don't be scared to change your own tire. If you're riding moto regularly, it's gonna be worth the investment to get the tools, the stand, and to be able to change your tires. Unfortunately, you probably will get some of your buddies and brother-in-laws bringing you their wheels to change, but it'll be good for your overall moto experience.
For more information on the products shown in this video, click on the link in the description box below. Feel free to call us with any questions or place an order at 800-969-7501. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, and subscribe.